Hello, welcome to MarketSquare, your go-to show for deep insights into business and economic trends. I'm Olaitan Adebayo, and today we are diving into key developments impacting lives and livelihoods across Nigeria. Stay with us as we break it all down. Welcome back to MarketSquare. Let's get straight into it. Today, we are focusing on Nigeria's 2025 national budget, a record-breaking 54.99 trillion naira plan, a significant increase from the initially proposed 49.7 trillion naira. Dubbed the budget of restoration, this ambitious budget aims to address key sectors, stimulate economic growth, and enhance public services. While the government insists the economy is recovering, this budget remains growth-oriented, loaded with a massive deficit and heavy debt servicing. Still, increased allocations to security, agriculture, education, and healthcare offer some hope despite inflation and naira volatility. The question remains, will those budgets truly work for the people, and what does this mean for the average Nigerians? Joining us to break down the numbers is Godwin Agaba Ochube, a seasoned research professional with expertise in public sector reforms, fiscal transparency, and advocacy. He has led high-impact initiatives such as the Transparency and Integrity Index and Civil Society Monitoring Mechanisms on UNCAC implementation in Nigeria. Welcome to MarketSquare, Godwin.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Earlier, before I introduced you, Godwin, I talked about 2025 Nigerian budget and what it means for the everyday Nigerians. So let's start with the basic, Godwin. The 2025 budget is nearly double that of 2024. What are the key highlights of this budget?
Yeah, the 2025 budget is notably significant. It's not only significant that it's almost double the size of the 2024 budget, as you rightly said, increasing from over 35 trillion to over 54.99 trillion. Okay, so and basically the rise is based on the government's commitment to capital infrastructure. You understand, which has increased from 23 to 0.4 trillion. So our government is more interested in investing in defense, infrastructure, health, and education, and all of it, which are one of the reasons why we have high increase to that amount. So with the budget built up to that amount and all of it, we hope that a good investment in those sectors that they have listed up as capital expenditure will transcend into affecting the lives of ordinary Nigerians. Thank you.
That's an interesting overview, Godwin. It is clear that significant investments are being made in infrastructure, health, and education. Now, let's dig into one of the most pressing concerns, the budget deficit of 13.08 trillion naira. We all know that the budget deficit means Nigerian expenses actually outweighs the income. However, the government plans to borrow to finance the gap. So what exactly are the potential risks associated with this borrowing?
All right, of course, there is a risk, inherent risk when it comes to borrowing. Okay, so it's a very big one. First, you have to talk about the issue of debt sustainability. Okay, so with over 50.18 trillion that has been marked for debt servicing, you could imagine the challenge it will be. It will cost to our fiscal responsibility without compromising essential services. So, so that sustainability is one risk that you will think of. Okay, so with it's just like you pay 100 naira and then you pay 99 naira in the servicing debt. So it's one of a major risk it has on our fiscal responsibility. Additionally, when we really rely on borrowing, it leads to a level of inflationary pressure. Okay, which leads to depreciation of the naira and affecting the basic power of Nigerian. Okay, so that's one of the risk attached to it. Once the purchasing power of the people is being affected, it affects every other sector. Okay, so aside the fact that we risk to earmark a lot of money to service this borrowing and debt and all of it, which affect other sector, it also affects the people, the ordinary people, when it comes to their purchasing power because of the depreciation of naira and the need to borrow more money and all of it, thereby worsening our debt situation.
Okay, well, can you?
but then borrowing to some extent, if it is well managed, for me, is not a bad thing.
Okay.
There are advanced countries like the US and the rest that borrow money, but the difference now is how to strategically manage it so that it doesn't lead to economic instability. So
Okay, so
if we are borrowing to invest in sectors that, of course, will bring in more profit, and it is well managed, well, it is not embezzled, it is not a bad thing, right? But in our situation now, given our economic condition, I wouldn't say it is the right decision to make.
if you ask me, that's a worrying picture, especially for our country that is already facing economic uncertainty. But away from the figures and fiscal forecasts, for many Nigerians grappling with rising costs and unemployment, the real concern is how this budget will translate to stable prices, job creation, and economic relief. Can this budget practically improve the daily lives of ordinary citizens and also empower small businesses?
On paper, actually, when you have increased capital expenditure, it means more infrastructure projects. It means it can, which of course can create job and also stimulate economic activities. However,
Okay.
in reality, with inflation still pressing on our neck and a very big issue due to subsidy removal and currency devaluation, the cost of living might remain high, right? You understand? And then small
Yes.
businesses and all of it, of course, will face it. So the truth is that the truth is that it has a lot of impact actually. But
Okay, so you're saying that the impact is job creation and more empowering of the entrepreneurship aspect. But you're looking at you're also looking at the parts that the inflation might actually go up, right?
exactly. So on papers, if we on papers, the budget could actually create when you have a government investing in capital expenditure as one of the rationale for yeah, high
Okay.
budget that we have. Of course, naturally, it should translate into more job and also help stimulate the economy. Because when you talk about more money, you talk about more money in circulation and more project is being done. With infrastructure, SMEs
Okay.
can be able to do their business very well, and
Business.
and all of it create jobs. Right? That's on papers, right? Aha. But now
Yes, yeah, sure.
let's look at the actual thing happening in the country with
Yeah, what
inflation.
is happening?
Yes, with inflation on the high side due to subsidy removal and all of it, right? So the actual
Yes.
impact it should have on the people are not being felt, right? So imagine you are
Okay.
investing in sectors and then at the end, my naira is as good as not be able to buy basic things, right? So it
You're not
doesn't,
saying the
yeah.
impacts.
So the practical impact is not there. But if you want to go by paper definitions and all of it, we would say, okay, this should be the outcome. But in practice, we're not saying that cost of living is still very high.
Like, so you're saying that the situation in Nigeria does not actually correlate with what is on the paper, right?
Exactly.
But it's one thing to allocate and another thing to actually implement. Nigerians have seen ambitious budgets before. So let's talk about delivery. The budget makes bold promises with increased spending on key sectors, but we've seen in the past implementation is often a major problem in Nigeria. How realistic is effective execution this time around? And what mechanisms are in place to ensure that these promises translate into real changes for Nigerians?
All right. When it comes to implementation, right? Um,
Like, yes.
yes, historically, one of the challenges that we have faced is in terms of our budgeting, is in terms of budget implementation. Okay, and this is
Okay,
as a
yeah.
result of governance issues, corruption, and economic shocks, and all of it.
Corruption.
Okay, so corruption is
Yeah.
actually one
Yes,
of
sir.
the key words there when it comes to
Implementation.
implementation. Okay,
All right. Yes.
but then the government has pledged to improve its fiscal and monetary coordination to ensure that to ensure macroeconomic stability, which is actually a good one. Okay, so efforts are being made to enhance transparency and accountability in public spending. But nevertheless, realistic execution will require not just the political but also
Yes.
efficient monitoring system to track some of this process. Okay, so the government needs to
Yes.
prioritize practical and measurable outcomes to ensure that budgetary allocation translates into tangible benefits for Nigeria. So like I said, corruption is one thing affecting it, and to go beyond the political will, go beyond party manifesto and stating I will do this and do that to ensure that it is
Yes.
being tracked. Okay, if you said this and this money has been allocated for the Lagos Badagry Expressway or coastal line or Kano Abuja to Kano Road, and money has been marked for that, what is the method? What's the mechanism are you using to track the progress of that kind of project? How would you know? How would you measure
Okay.
that the money is not being mismanaged? How would you ensure that the procurement processes are actually good? So, in terms of realistic uh, uh, execution and implementation mechanism, you want to put in place that mechanism to ensure that uh, 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 the projects are being tracked, what you have budgeted for, you are tracking them beyond just
Okay.
stating it, beyond just having them on papers, very beautiful paper presentation about budget and all of it. With a very bulky,
Yeah.
you could see the president holding a very bulky document and the rest. But that's not where the issue
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
That's not where the issue is. The issue should be the ability of the government, right, to track it, to
Yeah.
track the progress along the line, the milestones, and all of it. If it is not working, let's say in quarter 1, you have budgeted so amount for a particular project, and you discover that the outcome, right, in quarter 1 is not
Yes.
meeting up, you need to fall back. And that's what the politicians don't do. That's what the technocrat that we put in place to implement most of these policies and budgets, that's what they don't do. And that is where the problem is. So we end up budgeting a lot of money, budgeting a lot of resources and the rest, which naturally, if it has gone as planned, it will stimulate the economy, right? People will not feel it. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, but because we
Yes.
don't have that, right, it end up
Thank you, Godwin, for that insightful analysis. It's still nice having you on the show. Now, looking at the bigger economic landscape, the government expects inflation to ease with better oil production and local refinery and agricultural outputs. But beyond projections, are we seeing any concrete steps towards attracting foreign investment and curbing wasteful spending now that the budget has been passed?
yeah, like you said, beyond projections, there's a need for government to seek how to attract foreign investment, which is a very, very good one. Okay, so, but then for me, foreign investment doesn't just come because you exist as a country. You need to have a
Okay.
good and robust favorable business environment, okay, before you can be able to attract foreign investors. Like you look at the world economy currently now, China and UX fixing different arrays and economic trade and the rest. A good government that is smart, that is wise, that is goal oriented, should see a way to tap into that opportunity to either provide to the
Okay.
US market what China has, that has now been tariff has placed on, and the vice versa. But then you wouldn't see that from our leaders. So there is a need for a business environment. When I talk about good business environment, you cannot have an environment that is bedeviled with insecurity, infrastructure is bad, and all of it, and then you want people to come and invest. Nobody will want to come and invest, right?
Yes.
I can easily take my money to Singapore. I can easily take my money to other advanced country where crime is at the minimum. I don't know if you get. So there is a need
I
for
understand.
the government to create that business environment. If I want to establish a business, it will take me forever to get the necessary regulatory license and paperwork done, a lot of bribing here and there and
Okay.
all of it. So, but if you go to most of those countries that are topping the charts, India and the rest, a day, 2 days, 3 days, less than that, you have gotten your business registered and you are up and doing already. So the government need to focus on creating a good business environment to be able to attract foreign investment. And also, there's a need to focus on infrastructure and also promoting local refining and agricultural output. Those are things that could also attract this. Then also, you mentioned curbing wasteful spending. It's actually a very, very
Yes,
big
yes.
challenge. Okay, so that's why promise of reforms, instances of financial mismanagement still undermines our confidence. So the key success lies for me in strengthening institutional framework and enforcing fiscal discipline. Okay, that's one of the first thing that I will mention. Okay, in curbing wasteful spending, if there is good fiscal discipline, and institutions are more powerful than the individual. Now, of course, we wouldn't be able to address the challenges and boost investors' confidence, and also improve public perception of government accountability. Imagine a government where the citizens always talk bad about it. Each time you see Nigeria talking about President Tinubu or the government, is the negative. And those foreign investors
Okay.
are making assessment of all of this. So if
Okay.
the environment
Okay.
aren't very, very good, so how would I want to put my money into it? So those are the things
Yeah. So curating a business environment that will make people invest in it is actually a good part, right?
exactly.
As we wrap up, Godwin, what would be your advice to everyday Nigerians and how to navigate the potential challenges or opportunities presented by this new budget?
All right. In terms of my advice to Nigerians is to stay
Mm-hmm.
informed and financially prudent. Just stay informed,
Okay.
okay? There's a need for us to
Yeah.
understand the budget and its implication. It can help us make better financial decisions and also hold the leaders
Okay.
accountable, okay? For example, there are a lot of things that I think Naseni also is doing, different ministries are doing. I know of an MOU or so, an agreement between South Africa and Nigeria recently. Nigerians need to be on alert and see some of those international agreements and investment areas the government is investing in. Okay, that's the best way
Okay.
to that this budget can benefit you. Understand the budget,
Okay.
right? Stay informed, understand the
Yes.
budget, and know the implication. Know where government is pumping money into. Government is pumping money into
Okay.
technology. It therefore means that you should go into technology. If you look at
Okay.
what's the name again? The different tech government established institutions, you see them running different programs, doing
Yes.
this and that and all of it. Those are indications that government is interested in so and so places. So
So
you need to
okay.
understand the budget and understand areas that the government is going into. If the government is interested in mining between South Africa and Nigeria, that's an indication that you need to go into that, right? For people who are interested in that. Additionally, there's a need to leverage
Okay.
opportunities in sectors receiving increased funding, like agriculture, small scale
Okay.
manufacturing, and all of it. Recently, the president talks about how to encourage local production, small scale manufacturing, and all of this that are able to boost economic shocks and all of it. So, if government is going towards that side and you are going towards the left side, of course, there's no way you can benefit from it. So, for me, Nigeria should participate in community dialogue and advocacy to ensure that government implement the budget effectively, and civic engagement will be a crucial one in ensuring public resources
Okay.
are used as intended. So it doesn't just stop at being informed and knowing more about the budget alone. There's the need for civic engagement. There's also a need for holding the government accountable to be sure that what they have budgeted is effectively used. Thank you.
Okay. So you're saying that the people should be informed about the budget, the implications, and also leverage where the government is putting their money into, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's my point.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Godwin, for your insightful analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
And I,
having me.
yeah, and I hope when next we invite you, you'll be willing to join us on the
Of
show.
course, I will. I will. It's an interesting
Okay.
one. I will.
All right. Now, thank you so much, Ochube. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Avia, we've heard it all from Godwin Ochube. And like he has advised, it is essential for Nigerians to stay informed about the budget and also know the implications. Welcome back to MarketSquare. Before the break, we explored the Nigerians 2025 budget, what it means for average Nigerians. Now, let's turn our attention to another critical issue, how the Naira is faring into these foreign exchange markets. The Nigerian Naira continues to experience fluctuation against major global currencies, reflecting ongoing dynamics in both official and parallel markets. Starting with the US dollar, the official exchange rate stands at 1,607.02 Naira per $1. In the black market, the dollar is trading at 1,625 Naira for buying and 1,673 Naira for selling. Moving to Euro, the official rate is 1,824.22 Naira per euro. And the parallel market, the euro is being exchanged at 1,845 naira. Regarding the British pound, the official rate is 2,138.73 naira per £1. The black market rate for pound is 2,116 naira. This disparity between official and black market rates underscores challenges within Nigeria's foreign exchange landscape. The Central Bank of Nigeria advises individuals and businesses to utilize official banking channels for foreign exchange transactions to ensure transparency and stability. And that is for today on MarketSquare. From complexities of national budget to the shift of the currency market, numbers matters. I'm Olaito Adebayo. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.